Welcome to the Ychyfus Kung Fu podcast, where me, Darren Jones, and him over there,
Clive Davis, hello.
We have a chat about some Kung Fu films.
We do.
Now,
hang on now, Darren.
Go on.
This is not your fault, because we got used to doing this, but this isn't a podcast anymore, is it?
No, you're quite right. And as it happens, I was leaning in close to the mic earlier on when I was doing my introduction.
Yeah.
And I actually forgot that we were on video myself. So yes, yeah, we are no longer a podcast. So what do you call this? What are we calling this? Is it a video
I don't know.
cast?
It's awkward, isn't it? I think we just call it a Ychyfus, I think.
It's just a Ychyfus, like share. Or, you know.
You're not like share.
I'm a lot like Cher, actually.
Yes. Yeah. I've often said that.
Yeah. The amount of times I've said if I could turn back time, or shoop, or
that film, Moonlighting.
Yes.
Or is it Moonlighting? Or
Moonstruck. Yeah, another one. Moonstruck. Yeah, I've definitely seen that. I've definitely seen that.
But I often think of that as that's the Darren Jones biopic.
It is. I haven't actually seen that film. I remember all I know about that film is the video cover, the VHS cover.
Yes, and Nicolas Cage is in it, isn't he?
Yeah, which I remember avoiding because Cher was in it, and I was an angry 14-year-old.
The similarities between you were a problem in those days, whereas now embrace.
And now I'm at one with my Cher.
I think back in the day, I think what angered you the most was that you'd both had a successful folk duo with Sunny, and you didn't like, because you were very possessive of Sunny. Yeah.
He hurt me quite badly.
Well, he hurt
when he left. Yeah.
That's what you have to.
Well, he did. Well, yeah, I know, but you know, and what was worse, he left me for John Waters.
So, right.
Yeah, because he left me to go and work on Crybaby with John Waters.
Oh, he was in Crybaby.
Exactly. And I love John Waters, but you know, John and Sonny hurt me bad. But we don't want to talk about that now. We want to talk about Kung Fu films.
Yes.
Yeah, hang on.
There we go. You get it out.
There we are. Yeah, I'm all right now. Anyway, so what we're doing today is we are doing...
We're not talking about Cher anymore.
No, we finished talking about Cher.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Well, have you got anything else to say about Cher?
I'll
give you the floor.
What's her name? What's her real name? Is it actually Cher? Do we know?
I don't think it's Cher. But I'm not really bothered what her real name is, if I'm honest.
No, neither am I. I don't really give a shit. No.
Well, viewers, write in if you know who Cher's real name is. Yeah. Please put it in the comments of the YouTube video, and we will be sure to ignore it.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, there we are. Anyway, so what we're doing today, and all this month, I've been trying to work out like a kind of a little kind of like a snappy little kind of summary of the two films we're covering today. And I couldn't quite work it out. I couldn't quite get there. But it's essentially, when Mantis goes too far, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think we mentioned when we talked about doing the show, I think we dubbed the pushing the Mantis envelope, right?
Oh, there we go. I must have forgotten that. There we are. Yeah. The closest I came to, and only Clive will appreciate this,
right,
is Mantis rewilt. Rewilt Mantis. Yeah. So, which means in Welsh, Mantis, you've gone too far.
Yes. Yes.
And, oh, you're too wild. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're doing this backwards. Usually we would do this chronologically, but we both kind of decided that we're going to do this backwards. So we're going to do the later film and then the earlier film.
Right.
So first of all, we are doing Thundering Mantis. 1980.
79.
Okay, no problem. Why does HKMDB call it 1980 when you're calling it 97?
Well, because it was
on production.
Yes, it was released in 90, but it's released at like January or something like that.
No, that's fair enough. And it was back to back with Sleeping Fist, which was 79. So
right.
Yeah, fair dues. Thundering Mantis. I've got this image of Thundering Mantis as a kind of a grindhouse midnight classic, which I don't actually know it was or not.
Yeah, I was wondering. I think I'll save this a little bit to my final conclusion, and we'll get into to that. But yes, I know what you mean. It kind of again. So I was wondering about this actually. Was this? So I remember there was a very early on when you, because you started getting into your foo a little bit before me, because you went off to live in that there London.
That's right.
Before I came along, and you had access to, well, Toby's stall for one thing, and also a whole bunch more citywide video shops and stuff. So you were able to indulge a bit more. So I definitely remember you sitting me down with Thundering Mantis and saying, "You got to watch this." I remember that.
Yeah.
I was wondering, was this because one of your early haunts? I remember because we living in Wood Green.
Yeah.
But there was a video shop in Muswell Hill that you used to frequent.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They had a not a bad little kung fu section. I was wondering, was this a Muswell Hill rent?
It probably was, because it was a big box. Because this only came out on, because I think it came out on DVD in some iteration. I don't know what label it was, but it was always a big box VHS, and this was in the era of VHS. So I know with the,
when you say big box, you're saying it would have been old rental, as opposed to it wasn't like a made in Hong Kong.
No. So it wasn't. Yeah. So it was. So the newer boutique, Eastern Heroes made in Hong Kong.
Right.
They always had the little boxes, the narrow boxes.
Was this not Eastern Heroes release?
I don't think so. Well, it may have been later on, but originally when I saw it on VHS, it was a big box. So I'm guessing MIA, possibly.
Right.
I probably got it in there. I could have done the research, but I haven't.
Either that or Ocean Shores or something like that.
I don't think it was Ocean Shores, because I think it was out. So I think it was out in the UK.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it wouldn't have been that super old of VHS then. It was a few years old as opposed to.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have said it got put out in the late 80s.
Oh, okay. All right.
If I had to guess. But we may get annihilated in the comments on this.
Yes, this is not really our specialist.
No. But I remember having a big box VHS copy of this with a red box and a bluish cover.
Yes.
And that's kind of a late 80s thing to me. So it was a plastic box, not a squishy box.
It's interesting because I think we started getting in towards the tail end of the 90s there. We kind of missed out a bit on the we missed out on the kind of sporadically finding these scattered across various labels as we were growing up.
We were mopping this up through cash converters and video shops, as opposed to kind of, oh, there's a new kung fu release, the video shop's got a new kung fu film, we're kind of mopping up the dregs of probably what video shops were getting rid of.
Yeah.
Or had Dusty in the back of the shop,
Actually, if anyone's ever written anything or did a podcast about those kind of pre made in Hong Kong Eastern heroes, like you said, more boutique. If anyone's ever kind of written about that period from from the 80s into the 90s when stuff was coming out in dribs and drabs across different labels and who specialized in what, and I would actually be very, very interested to read because I don't know.
I'd love that. It's because you've got the kind of you've got someone like MIA is a big name, right? But you go into video shops or cash converters or kind of car boot sales or whatever, and you see these big squishy boxes, of 72 Desperate Rebels or Shaolin Kung Fu Mystagogue or something with completely unrelated artwork that's really fucking bad that someone's obviously put out on the cheap.
Yeah, or even
I would love to
bootleg some of that stuff. I'm thinking, like,
but not even bootleg. I mean, I'm pretty sure these were legitimate releases.
No, when I mean bootleg, I mean as in they would have had like a label and stuff, but I don't know if they actually had the rights to put things out. If you see what I mean?
Oh yeah, quite possibly, yeah. But nonetheless, they came out. Artwork was produced, and they were made in a factory, as opposed to someone's, garden shed.
Right.
So that would be a fascinating kind of article to read, documentary even to watch. Is how the kung fu films came on the little labels to the UK and elsewhere, and who was doing it and what was the motivation, how much money did they make, did they really have the rights? I'd love that. That'd be great.
Someone should just on that because of course it's so different from because in the US they had things like black belt theater and stuff in certain territories, right? None of that, as far as I know, on British television, because it wouldn't have been, because I would have watched it.
Exactly. Well,
there's no kung fu on telly ever.
Not at all. No, it was Water Margin, Monkey, and then in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a bit of stuff on Channel 4 and BBC Two. That was it.
Right.
Yeah. Which is the stuff we saw, which was the Encounter the Spooky Kind or Mr. Vampire or Providence Son and that, on that Jonathan Ross thing in the 90s. Anyway, so that would be a fascinating thing for someone to look into. And write in, and we'll have you on the podcast.
Yeah, that'll be of more interest to us than the share information, to be honest.
Yes, it will.
Now that I think about it.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Let's try and prioritize that information first. So, Thundering Mantis. So we don't really know how much of a kind of a grindhouse classic this was, but regardless of that, it's in my head it's a grindhouse classic.
Yes.
So directed by Teddy Yip Wing Cho, who did some stuff but nothing of particular note. He did Black Tavern, Blade Spares, None, bits and bobs for here and there and for Shaw's. Choreographed Robert Tai.
Who's still working for Shaw Brothers at this point as well, right? Like,
79, 80. Well, it's kind of that transition, isn't it? But
right. I'm sure he's thinking about it, and he's
So he's done this on the side. So we've got Leung Kai-Yan Beardy in the title role. We've got the lovely Cheng Hai Fen, who's not really done a lot else.
No,
who's fucking great. We've got Eddie Ko.
Oh yes, looking a bit like a vampire.
Looking, It's Eddie Core at his most Eddie Core, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny watching this, and so kind of a follow-up to Sleeping Fist, right? As you mentioned, in so much as Lung Koyan, Eddie Core, the kid, Hwang Hee-lung, and Teddy Ip and all that. And so watching this, and because I'd never seen Sleeping Fist before, so I decided to watch it ahead of this. So
okay.
Very good, actually, Sleeping Fist.
That's all right. Yeah.
But we mentioned this because we did something else with Eddie Core, I forget what, but we did mention how coming back and watching these things again has been quite an education, because I think both of us, for whatever reason, think of Eddie Core as more of an 80s modern action guy.
Yeah. Right. It was Hitman in the Hand of Buddha.
Oh, okay.
About that. Yeah.
But fucking hell, the more he's getting up there now as one of the top kung fu villains, right? He's getting
fucking
there with your Kam Kongs and your Huang Zhanglis. I mean,
yeah. He's I mean, Eddie. Well, and we said it. So go back and check our Huang Zhangli Double Bill, by the way, where we said exactly this. But there's something about Eddie Core as a villain where there's some sort of depravity, some sort of perversion going on.
It definitely comes out.
And this is the film. And I think we mentioned at the time when we were talking Wang Zhangli in the previous podcast, is I think, my view on Eddie Core was coloured by this film. In the other films. But this is Eddie Core at his most evil, I think.
And also coloured by this film as well. I think for both, again, because we saw it that goes double for Beardy, right? Because I'm not sure if that's the case for everyone, right? But I think for both you and me, when we think Lung Koyan, we think Thundering Mantis.
Thundering Mantis and the Victim, I would have said. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Which is essentially the same character,
Right.
But it's not actually. It's not really. He's quite kind of happy-go-lucky in this, isn't it? Until a certain point. Yeah.
Well, let's get the actual thrust of the plot out the way really quickly.
Yeah.
There's not much to it, right? He's basically he's a fishmonger's assistant, works at Ikwan, gets kicked out of his school because he's got too much of a bad temper, right?
Yeah.
Befriends a little kid, Hwang Hee-lung, who that's the other thing as well, is because what happens later happens, it's very easy to overlook some of the others. But fuck, he's an impressive little kid, isn't he? In this sense,
great.
Yeah.
Well, so he's acrobatic, so he can, he's doing flips, and he's obviously some sort of Taiwan opera trained master, at 12 years old or however old he is.
Yeah, well, he seems to be, or as Toby told us before, or maybe Robert Tye just moulded him out of nothing.
That's true.
And he was actually working down Burger King.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I think he does look like he can do some. There's a scene where he's like, he's way up in the air, suspended, like he's got a bit between his teeth.
Oh yeah, and he's doing the spinning thing.
It's like, that's really quite.
Yeah. So and the kid's really interesting. So he's a decent actor as well.
Yeah.
So a lot.
He's holding his own against the grown-ups, right? Like even.
Yeah. Well, it's because there's like a drunken boxer. There's a drunken Mantis scene.
Yes.
Where the kid gets himself pissed and succeeds in kicking the shit out of most of the 10 thugs that kind of accost him, and then Beardy has to come and rescue him.
Yeah.
But incredibly impressive acrobat, this kid.
Anyway,
he didn't do a lot more. But anyway.
But this is Sleeping Fist is his main. He's in a few other things, but I don't know. He didn't grow up to end up being in anything, as far as I know.
No, you'd think he'd be like a Tung Wai, wouldn't you? You'd think he'd be like, he'd turn into Vincent Zhao in 15 years. Right. But he didn't, and he's not around. And also Chin Yet-san is in this as well.
Yeah, he's his grandfather, right? He's he's basically
Sam Seed
for Sam Seed, right?
Yeah,
I'm assuming Simon Yen was too busy doing World of Drunken Master or something, or
Well, he was in Sleeping Fist, though.
Well, he is
wasn't
a Sleeping Fist, but
yeah.
but I'm guessing they probably wanted him back for this, right? But he got poached in the.
But he's kind of on his last legs by now, isn't he?
I suppose.
So when did he die? 80.
Same year, right? 79.
I think so. Yeah. So when does he die? Is it 81, 82?
Can't remember.
No, that's easy information to find out. The people can find out. That's fine. But yeah, essentially he's Sam Seed, and he's doing a fucking great job as well.
Yes, yeah. No, Chenya Tang is as good Sam the Seed stand-in as you can hope for it, isn't he?
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, and the fact that he's a bit of an ugly bastard, kind of helps him look a bit old.
And the bad guys, the Jade Horse Gang, as led by Eddie Core, are causing trouble, and that is actually the plot of the film, really. Well,
they're actually not really causing trouble, are they?
Not really. So, they just for whatever they end up rubbing against each other, don't they?
Yeah. So Beardy starts fucking with the Jade Horse Gang's thugs, and then the Jade Horse Gang find out about the fact that he's fucking with his thugs, and then they come after him and they basically destroy his life.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and then by the time we get to the final, like, it gets quite nasty. There's quite a bit of an edge, and there's some people you don't expect to die.
Yeah.
And then, to quote the opening of the film, watch out, that guy's real crazy, because Beardy this is just because up until I would say up until the final, like, 20 minutes or something, this has been a perfectly fine, watchable, fun little kung fu film.
Yeah, good old film. Yeah.
Not even, not even, I would say, not even Robert Hoy's choreography really shines particularly. It's very good.
The fu is excellent up until this point,
but it's not show offy. It doesn't. No. Yeah,
it's just. But it's if you were to watch 3/4 of this back to back with, well, let's use that example, World of Drunken Master, right, on a par, right. Loads of shapes, loads of fights, really good, lovely and crisp, bit of acrobatics. Bit brutal, great.
Or in fact, up until the final reel, I would say you could even argue that Sleeping Fist is a little bit better.
Okay.
Even though it doesn't have the Robert I choreography, but just as a kind of, just a kind of nuts and bolts Avenger.
Yeah, there's literally 100 films with the same plot.
Right.
That play out the same way with similar choreography, right? Up until the final reel.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what pushes it over the edge, isn't it? Because Beardy just fucking loses it. He doesn't just get.
Hang on. Spoilers.
Oh yeah,
there are spoilers in this podcast.
Yes, but as you said, Beardy goes fucking gwallgof, and he literally is like convulsing, and so I'd forgotten quite how out there he's gone.
He's foaming at the mouth. He's collapsing, going like this.
He's almost gone into he's like a dying, like a dying mantis or something. Just and Eddie Cole's like, oh, fucking hell, what's going on here? Like, you can't even approach him.
Yeah.
And it's mad. It's I can't think of anything else. There's some great kung fu finales, obviously, but fucking hell, this one is just I can't think of anything else quite like it. It's so intense and impactful.
Yeah. Well, let's give it all away. Let's give it all away.
Yeah. Well, you know.
So, and we've said spoilers, right?
Yeah.
So towards the end of the film, Beardy and the kid get captured by Eriko, mainly because they're threatening the kid with a knife, and the kid's ill because Chinyat-san's just been killed. In a lovely scene, actually, that's all kind of slow-mo and kind of, you know, it's nice little scene. Nice little touches. Yeah, it's
music
lovely.
From a Western or something, it sounds like.
Yeah, but it's nice and sad lilting music while he's getting the shit kicked out. It's nice. So anyway, so they get captured and basically crucified. So the two of them, this little 12-year-old kid and Beardy, are literally crucified on this crucifix, on crucifixes.
Being hit and logs.
Yeah, and the kid gets tortured to death.
Yeah, he gets
in front of Beardy. So he gets branded with this big iron brand and beaten with massive logs, essentially. And then Beardy has a flashback of all the good times with the kid and Grandpa Chinyat-san, and flips the fuck out.
Oh yes.
And rips down. You know, he just basically, you know, it's like in Sword and the Sorcerer. If anyone's seen Sword and the Sorcerer, when he's crucified and he pulls the nails out of his arms, except there's no nails in his arms. He just like breaks the crucifix like that, doesn't he? And just flips the fuck out, Mantis style.
What's really awesome about it is it goes from 0 to 60 as well, right? Because there's no time for you to, because this is not in any way, shape or form a happy ending. There's no way for you to appreciate the righteous vengeance that he's going to have, because he's absolutely batshit insane, and he's gone into some kind of fight or flight. He's turned into a mantis. He's turned into a cannibal mantis who takes fucking bites out of their jaw.
He's completely disassociated from humanity, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't.
However,
think the part where he's like, "Haha, I have had my vengeance." He's lost it. He's
he's gone. He's flipped. Yeah.
So it's like you can't even. That's what I really like about it, I suppose, is the fact that it is actually essentially quite a sad downbeat ending. Like, there's
but the thing is, it's so satisfying.
Oh, it is.
So when Beardy flips and rips through 20 thugs,
snapping necks and things, and
he's just snapping necks. And he's, you know, at one point he breaks Eriko's back on his knee, takes a chunk out of his leg,
and the back of his head as well. It's just like,
he just rips his scalp off.
But the real icing on the cake, and this was the thing I'd remembered more than anything else, and it's intimated more than it is.
What, the silhouette at the end?
Yeah, where it's just like when Eriko's dead, like, and Rayhan's got this kind of gleam in his eyes, and he's not even walking about, he's scuttling about, doesn't he? And he takes Eriko's body off with him into a corner and picks up an arm, and it's like, oh fuck, he's gonna eat him. It's brilliant. It's like, I don't think I've seen anything quite like this
there's nothing like this film. But and that's the final scene of the film, isn't it? Is that he's defeated Eriko, and then it's kind of a long shot, and there's like, it's in silhouette because they've got like a screen door across where Beardy is, and you see Leung Kai-yan basically rip an arm off of Eriko.
Yeah, it's lunchtime.
Rip an arm. And then he kind of holds it up as if he's just about to eat it and kind of draw it. That's it. That's the end.
Fantastic. It's
amazing.
And it's totally cumulative. That is the making of the film. Like you said, if you'd have turned it off for some reason just before the end, you'd think, that's all right.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, I mean, that's what pushes it into, like you said, whether it was or not, but into the late night, you know, cult insanity kind of corner, right? And God knows what people made of this when they saw it in a theatre, right? Because
they've gone fucking wild. Because the thing is that as soon as that crucifix comes down, I obviously I knew what was coming, right? But I probably haven't watched this for 10 years or something, maybe more. And as soon as I saw that crucifix come down, I was like, no, it's time.
No, I was just in awe of this. Like, and again,
it's happening.
I knew it was coming, but I'd just forgotten how fucking intense and brilliant it is. So what do we think as well? I mean, are we thinking that this was planned from the beginning? It's in Chang Sini's script, or was this like, is this the madness of Robert Tai? Or
no, I think maybe, you know, taking a chunk out of a leg is Robert Tai. I think he's a cannibal. And just that ending, how that ending scene is framed, you know, which is completely unnecessary, right?
Oh, it's fantastically gratuitous, isn't it?
Love it. I love it. But it's unnecessary. It doesn't have to happen for the plot, right? So all that needs to happen, A to B, on the plot of this film is he gets his vengeance. And yes, he can disassociate and foam at the mouth and beat everyone up and kill Eddie Gore. Right, but he doesn't necessarily have to eat him.
No.
Right. So all he has to do in a normal kung fu film is disassociate, start fitting, foam at the mouth, do the crazy mantis, kill Eddie Gore, and stumble out of the, just stumble out of the pagoda or whatever, you know, the compound, the end. Right, there's no need for ripping Eddie Gore's arm off and eating it.
Faro Tranquero, that is.
It is. So yeah, I wouldn't attribute, as much as I'd like to, and as much as I love Robert Tai, I wouldn't attribute that to him. I would attribute that to a script decision.
It does. It's because it's unlike anything. It just seems like one of those bits of alchemy, or it's one of those things that just came about, and it's not something that comes about often, and we should cherish it for what it is. It's funny that I remember you show. It is one of those films because I remember you showing it to me, and I remember it is one of those films that you almost get more joy out of showing someone else, right? I remember reacting to it, and I'm sure you must have got a big kick out of watching me react to it. And certainly it's something you enjoy showing to other people because it's so. I mean, because it's entertaining enough. So you're not going to shut it off. Someone's not going to get bored and turn it off, right, towards the end. So it's technically it's entertaining enough that someone's going to stick with it. But there's just no sign at all that that's where it's going.
Because there's no
shadowing or anything apart from watch out, that guy's real crazy. But you know,
but there's no because that's the thing, because that's the only craziness in the film. When we get on to the second film we're going to review, right, there's craziness all through that thing, right?
Right.
There's all sorts of crazy going on in there, right, throughout the film. But in this, it's just standard but well-made fare.
I mean, at halfway through, there's a fucking extended, you know, diarrhea and farting gag. You know, that's The kid goes and gives all of the Jade Horse gang the shits, and it's a good 10 minutes worth of thugs fighting for the toilet because they got diarrhea. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the very next scene, Chin Yat-san gets killed in a really sad scene. So we should mention Thundering Mantis is over on the Wu-Tang Collection on YouTube, widescreen, 89.5-minute print, which I'm not sure how it differed from what we saw back in the, because there's a notable change in quality in a few scenes. So obviously it's been stitched together, and I don't know if it's the one we saw or but there's nothing much missing. Like, I don't think it would really overall.
We might have missed. No, we might have missed the chunk coming out of Eddie Cole's leg or something like that in the UK. That might have been it. I don't know. Yeah.
But it's just as noticeable, isn't it? Because the print suddenly gets darker for a few seconds, and then it goes back. But yeah, it's over there at the Wu-Tang Collection, which, you know, is, well, it's. I'm wondering if there should be some sort of petition that the Wu-Tang Collection at this point is so valuable. It should be like, you know, having running water in your house or something, right? Because if that
exactly, like
that disappears, then that
like
no, I know.
Yeah, I know, like a you know, a life necessity.
Yes,
you know,
like
a necessity of life.
Access to the internet apparently is now considered like
so access to Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, what more is there to say about Thundering Mantis?
Nothing. It's a classic. I mean,
it
is an absolute. I'm just wondering. I suppose a little bit. I was just wondering about its status because of where we were and certain people that we knew who must have, you know, and we would have read a glowing review in the Toby and Ricky's Hong Kong Essential Guidebook and stuff like that. But I don't know where it stands now in terms of is it still considered like, you know, is it one of those top tier classics that you need to get to, or is it a little bit forgotten in fandom? Or because
good point. Yeah,
hear people talking about it that much, but I know it looms large for both of us, just because I think it was probably one of the, because it was early on, it would have been one of the first like really memorable films that would have turned us into proper fans, and also was somewhat personal and felt like ours a bit, right? Because it it wasn't like seeing, you know, Into the Dragon or a Jackie Chan film or something.
No.
Because the world already had their but it felt like, whoa, you know.
I don't think you could walk. Let's say in an imaginary world, there's an all-nighter at the Scala, right, that they just reopened in London, right, and there's 6 kung fu films from 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the morning, right, and you're walking around the bar and you're chatting kung fu films to people, and you say to someone, hey, have you seen that Thundering Mantis? I think you could go through 200 people, kung fu fans, and each one of them would say exactly the same thing. Oh man, that's fucking crazy. Fucking love that film. I don't think you can watch Thundering Mantis and not love it.
Well, I don't think I would get on with the type of person who would. Like, I can't imagine someone watching this and then just going, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it if you're not into food and you turn it off halfway through. That's all right. But
no, but if someone had seen the ending, right? If
you have seen the ending to Thundering Mantis, then
and you don't love it, then
it's classic.
We cannot be friends, I am afraid.
No, but I do think but it's interesting, isn't it? I think it would be interesting to kind of poll people, you know, if we had that sort of community to poll people, you know, do people talk about Thundering Mantis enough? You know, because again,
I tell you, it was a big fan. Yeah.
Oh, if only I could turn back time and go back to the grindhouse and watch.
You only know one shares on which is one more than me. I didn't give up for that. But,
yeah. It's all right, Clive. I'll cover for you. I got you, babe.
There we go. Okay, good. Diane. Right. Moving on.
To something much more normal and tame.
Yes. For our dessert, we have Mantis Fist and Tiger Claws of Shaolin, from 1977.
Yeah.
Directed by a couple of fellas, Simon Chui Yingao, who also did the choreography, and Chung Sum, who the following year would go on to do a bit of a fan favorite with the same stars as John Cheng, Snake in the Monkey's Shadow.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And this is a Gold Dig release, which again, one of those strange, I don't know quite how we got into this, but for some reason, I know for both of us, seeing the Gold Dig logo is something special. You perk up when you see the Gold Dig, don't you?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it is just, I mean, digging gold dig. I'm assuming whether.
Yeah, but the thing is as well is that although we're getting excited by the Gold Dig logo, it's not usually that much of a seal of quality, is it?
No, it has to be said. I mean,
it's a mixed bag at best.
Yeah, it's not always something brilliant. But
you do like to see it.
Yes, for some reason we get all excited seeing the Gold Dig.
Yeah. And this is the pick of the bunch for Gold Dig for me.
Well, I suppose right up front, it's worth saying that this isn't anywhere near the classic that Thundering Mantis is.
No.
And for a start, I mean, it doesn't have Robert Pye choreography, right? And I would argue throughout, there's nothing particularly noteworthy about the action, really.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. It's fine.
And overall, even I would say that this isn't. It's quite interesting. This is in that category as well, which is a category again like seeing a Gold Dig. For some reason, whenever this turns out to be the case, I'm always intrigued when a film is a kung fu murder mystery.
Yeah,
I quite like a kung fu murder mystery.
Yeah, except this. Yeah, and right front and center.
Right.
I fucking love this film.
Well, I mean, I remember us seeing this for the first time. It was was released on, was it a Black Belt Theatre DVD?
Black Belt Theatre. Yeah.
Double bill with something.
Yeah.
And you had it, and we put it on site, and we didn't. And again, we've talked about this before, but one of the joys of getting involved in going deep in kung fu films is something that's called Mantis Fist and Tiger Claws, SHAOLIN, like totally generic.
Exactly. You envision an end fight in a field in Taiwan with one bloke going like that and one bloke going like that. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. That's in your head. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. But hiding behind that title is a film so conceptually bizarre that. Yeah, I'm the same with you. I have a great fondness because, again, it's something we kind of discovered by ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's not a great film. I would say it's not a great film.
No, it's not.
Just so fucking weird that someone came up with this as an idea for a film that you can't help but kind of be on side with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, and it's not so bad. It's good. It's not. It's not in that realm. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah,
and there's so much that's weird about it. So it's not just the fact that it's a weird murder mystery. It's not just the fact that Dean Sheck is playing a straight villain role,
right?
Which he doesn't actually do that well, to be fair.
No.
In retrospect, no.
Busting to pull a funny face, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. He's doing his job. It's okay.
Yeah.
But it's Dean Sheck.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of this kind of twitching thing, which is on the verge of becoming comical, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's not even the fact that there's a hunchback baddie with spikes on his back that kills people by running backwards into them and spins on tables and shit. Shang Kwai. That's piecemeal compared to the real meat and gravy of this film.
Yeah, so like we said, John Cheng is one of the stars at least, and he's in town looking for his long lost sister who's been sold to a brothel. Nick Chung Lik, who's very likable in this film. I quite like him.
I like him, but he's not doing a lot.
Not really.
It's because I think this came out shortly after, or I think this is riding the crest, or in some respects, riding the crest of Secret Rivals.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
I think so.
Where a righteous man rocks into town, and then there's an ambivalent figure who's actually a secret agent.
Yeah.
And there's so many films like that, and Nick Chung-lik is the secret agent who's a bit ambivalent and just pops in and pops out.
Quite charming. Something about
it's good.
I liked him with Serena Sai. There's something the chemistry was quite good. But so he's investigating basically women being trafficked to this same said brothel, the Orchid House. Does strike me as a strange business model, because this appears to be an extremely small rural town. You're wondering how long is it going to take them to get through trafficking all the girls in the village, and then the blokes go into the brothel. I assume is going to, at some point, they're going to be like, "Hang on, you're my daughter. What are you doing here?"
Yeah, exactly.
Can't imagine this business model lasting a long time.
No. But anyway, they're trafficking with men. And Dean Sheck's a bad man, and he's in charge of it.
Well, I wasn't sure. Certainly, his son is one of the people doing this. Right? I wasn't sure if Dean Sheck was behind it, but when his son and his cronies end up, so Serena Sai is the other main character. She's just like a chick in the village who gets raped an awful lot in this film. Yeah,
3 to 4 times she gets raped.
Yeah. And that does turn out to be kind of important as opposed to just gratuitous, but it's also nicely gratuitous as well. Even though you don't really see anything, you don't see any nudity, but you feel as if you've seen nudity, isn't it? It's that.
It's kind of, you see the side of her and you see her back, and she's in distress. So it's enough. Yeah, it's enough nudity to get the distress across.
And there's always like tying up and things, and did it for me.
And forcing legs apart and all that sort of stuff.
It's all good. So and then the people who have done her wrong end up dead, right? Like hung from trees and stabbed by bamboo and
spoilers. Spoilers come in.
Yes, all the way
through.
Spoil. I mean, it's not going to spoil it in so much as it's still, I think you're just basically not going to believe us when we say what the.
No.
You're going to think we're making it up, and then you're going to have to watch the film yourself and find out that we're not making it up.
Yeah.
So that's it. Basically, it's a murder mystery. There's people around. Yeah. Right. So it turns out, I suppose we should just come out and say it. So.
Go on.
So in a flashback told to Nick Chung-Luk's character, we found out that Serena Sai's mother was I can't believe I'm saying it out loud. Was raped by a little mantis that like crawled in under her clothes.
Yeah.
Got her pregnant.
Yeah.
She gave birth to Serena Sai, who at the moment of birth was born with a dead mantis in her mouth as well.
Yeah.
So that means that now, because we get a little cute little animated bit at the beginning of the film, don't we? That explains how
mantises operate.
Yeah, female mantises like devour their mates and stuff after sex and bite their heads off.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Serena Sai, after she's been raped these whole times, has transformed into like a 50s monster movie.
Yeah, I was a teenage mantis.
Yeah. Which is actually basically a bloke in like turquoise pajamas and a long green-haired wig and some
like fluffy prosthetics. Yeah.
And this 4-leg claw thing sticking out. and that's the murderer is a fucking mantis monster.
Yeah. And there's a man with a turtle shell and spikes on his back, and Dean Sheck's got a spear that he can twizzle and needle shoot at.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
And John Chang has got a really cool knife in like a holster that he can like spin around.
Yes. Yes. And it's called a 7-sided knife at one point, but I don't understand how that makes sense.
No, it only seems to have 2 sides, but yeah.
But it's got holes in it as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Because once again, just in case you weren't listening, a mantis man or mantis woman, I suppose, it seems to be a stunt man or something, is the villain of the piece. It's a
but it's a tragic story, because at the end they get married, and you find out you work out at the end that the reason all these rapists were getting murdered was not actually because they're rapists and bad people. It's because they actually had sex with the mantis monster, and the mantis monster's instinct is to kill people who have sex with her.
Yes.
And then at the end, John Chang gets married to the mantis monster.
Yes,
obviously.
Yeah.
And therefore she attacks him.
Yeah.
And then Nick, what's his name? Nick Chung-lik comes and helps out. And then at the end, the mantis monster gets like impaled on some steps and dies.
I'm imagining an alternative universe where Beardy swoops in and they eat they eat the corpses together and then go off on their mantis honeymoon.
I can see that. But yeah, I mean, so this film has got, for me, right, as a fan of kind of weird cinema, psychotronic cinema, kung fu cinema, right? It's got fucking everything, right? But none of it's particularly well done. So
not really.
But it's all okay. It's all right. You know?
Yeah, it's not too. I mean, how would you even pull off the mantis monster thing? Like, it's so conceptually strange that it doesn't matter. It's a bloke in green pajamas. Because it's
a fucking mantis monster.
It's so weird. You don't need a good suit, do you? Yeah, no, this is an odd. And again, it's when obviously, so this came out on this Black Belt Theatre DVD, and we saw it, and some other people, I assume, saw it. But still, to this day, it's not one. We remember it, but I don't. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's, hey, have you by any chance? Like, or if they didn't remember the title, they'd be like, am I imagining it? Or was there a film where there was a, but it doesn't come up often, and it's odd because it's, if you think about it, if it was more in the monster movie, if it was a monster movie from another, it wasn't a kung fu film, or everything else was more or less the same, except it didn't have kung fu, right?
Yeah.
This film would be remembered by the Monster Kid generation, by people who like Ychyfus, saw it late night. Even if it was even more shoddy than it is, people would remember. Do you remember that mantis? Oh, it'd be remembered.
You can see it talked of in the same conversation as, say, Oily Maniac.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Oily Maniacs,
but yeah.
No. Well, it's good in a different way.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I actually think it is as good as Oily Maniac, but we can beg to differ on that.
Yes.
But the point is that when you're talking about Asian cinema and kind of psychotronic cinema, it doesn't because it's foo, and because there's so much foo in it, and it's predominantly a foo film. It kind of doesn't fall into that monster movie cinema bracket.
Right.
That's why it takes you by surprise, is because actually, hang on, because you do see, so throughout the film, it does keep you guessing. If it's the first time you're watching it, you don't know who the killer is.
No, and before we get the big reveal, there are a few kind of foreshadowings where we see just the pincers or whatever in the
you see the pincers, or you see a weird green figure in the trees or something. Don't you? Yeah.
But it does strike me as a little strange that it doesn't have a bit more of a following. I mean, not even kung fu films, just people who seek out like really bizarre one-off, you know, cult films.
Yeah, but then I suppose, I suppose if you're going to put it in context of Hong Kong or Taiwan films that are weird, that weird film fans go looking for, there's quite a bargain bin to trawl through, isn't there?
Yes, and it's not outrageously weird. Do you know what I mean? Because it doesn't have much of the gore. It's not like like a black magic or a human lantern. Like it's not.
No.
It doesn't necessarily draw attention. It plays out kind of quite low key actually for what it is.
But it plays out more or less as a standard kung fu film.
Yeah.
Right, because you've got the big duel at the end. There's a big duel at the end between John Chang and Dean Shek, and there's the whole Dean Shek, because at the end, and it's a shame actually, because it's actually a pretty good scene where kind of Dean Shek gets impaled on John Chang gets impaled on Dean Shek's spear and then impales Dean Shek onto him.
No, it is Dean Shek who he kicks him onto the spears on the tree.
That's right.
Yeah,
and then he comes out with a spear sticking out, and then
but he doesn't quite. He doesn't quite stick it in him. He dies before he's able.
Yeah. So, and that's a really good scene. In any other kung fu film, that would be the end of the film.
Yeah.
So there's some, all the stuff is good, right? Or at least average or above average. Right, as far as kung fu goes, but there's this fucking giallo monster movie, weird, crazy shit going on. Sorry, I'm having a knock at the door for some reason, but I'm going to ignore it for a minute.
Okay,
it's all right. It might be Geraldine telling me to go to bed. Anyway, but yeah, But yeah, I mean, what else is there to say?
No, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's one of those things that you want to share with the world, really, isn't it? It's once you've discovered it, because you can't quite believe that it exists, that someone sat down and wrote it and came up with the idea, and they didn't just fuck that, they actually went and made it, right?
Yeah. With Dean Shek and John Chang and a half-decent kung fu choreographer and some special effects. And it's a smorgasbord of alternative film interest, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, seek it out. I mean, it's very different from, obviously, our theme, the pushing the Mantis envelope. It's not Thundering Mantis. That's a very different kettle of fish. But no, it's I check it out, because again, this is also on Bhutan.
Yeah.
It's such an odd little artifact that is worth discovering if you like oddball thing. I can see it, actually, oddly enough, I can see it not playing with the more straight-laced kung fu fan who doesn't have time for nonsense. I
agree. Yeah. But it's punctuated with enough action, so when it's
not boring at all.
No, but when there's not a scene in the forest where there's a mystery killer, manipulating bamboo to pierce, because a lot of people get like skewered by bamboo in the forest by a mysterious assailant, or strangled by bamboo, and then there's just a weird figure in the trees.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite natural. If you mix that in with the copious raping as well, it's quite hard for a 50-cent kung fu quickie, isn't it?
For sure. But when when the mysterious shit's not happening, there's a rape happening, and when there's a rape not happening, there's a fight happening. So there's all sorts going on for all sorts of people. And if you make it to the end, you get to see a monster.
Something for the whole family.
Exactly. Yes. So yeah.
Right. Okay, doke. Then there we go. So yeah, there we go. A Mantis double bill for the ages, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. How we're going to top this, I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
We're thinking caps on. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Diane.
Until next time then, this has been, I hope this has been as much fun to watch as it has been to record, because I've actually rather enjoyed talking.
I have loved talking about these two films. Yeah. But anyway, if you haven't seen them, it's only an hour and a half. We'll watch them. Yeah. See if you agree with us.
Yeah. Certainly Thunder and Mantis is must see.
Yeah. But in a different way, Mantis vs. Tiger Claws of Shaolin is also a must-see, just on a weird level.
Yeah.
So if you're a jaded kung fu fan and you haven't seen it, you're going to see some shit you haven't seen before.
Right, which is always good.
Yeah. And actually, just as an end note, the fights are pretty pedestrian throughout the second film, Mantis vs. Tiger Claws of Shaolin, but the end fight is actually really fucking good. The end fight with the Mantis is really, really good.
Yeah, it's just because it's a Mantis, it's distracting, isn't it? So you kind of almost
exactly, yeah. But I was paying attention to the choreography, and it's on point.
You really try fighting with floppy felt for...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, yeah. Okay.
Right then. Until next time.
Bye-bye. Ta-ta.